Good evening. Paul Driftmeyer here. Thank you for joining me in another episode of Out of the Frying Pan. I don't have much time, getting out of frying pans, out of the fire. That's something you want to do quickly, so I'm going to try and keep this brief. I want to do a little rant on the rule of law versus the rule of man. There is no more important concept in our republic and its founding than the condition of the rule of law. We have a constitution. It is the supreme law. It is relatively difficult to change, and when it is changed, everybody knows about it well in advance. And those are some of the characteristics of the rule of law. The rule of man is the antithesis of that. The rule of man is where they make rules instead of having a supreme law, and whatever the most men or people or the most important people or the most powerful ones want, both that becomes the law. And you can imagine that having the rule of law versus the rule of man, on the one hand, it's more stable to have the rule of law, and on the other hand, it's more unstable to have the rule of man. The rule of man is the political vicissitudes that change with the wind. The rule of law is an anchor with a chain to the ship of state. Let me tell you what Friedrich Hayek, a renowned economist, says about the rule of law. He says, "Nothing distinguishes more clearly conditions in a free country from those in a country under arbitrary government." Let me repeat that, arbitrary government. "Than the observance in the former of the great principles of the rule of law. Stripped of all technicalities, this means that the government in all its actions is bound by rules fixed and announced beforehand, rules which make it possible to foresee with fair certainty how the authority will use its coercive power, and to plan with this knowledge." That is the rule of law. Thomas Jefferson, another notable in our republic and the economy that we enjoy, said this: "The two enemies of the people are criminals and the government. So let us tie the second down with the chains of the Constitution, so the second will not become the legalized version of the first." Amen to that, Thomas. Now, we have an election coming up here in Wisconsin tomorrow, Tuesday, April 4th, and the difference between the two Supreme Court candidates who are vying for that seat is the difference between the rule of law and the rule of men. The rule of law candidate is Justice Kelly. I hope that you will vote for him. The rule of man candidate is Judge Protasewicz, and I hope you will not vote for her. Voting for Judge Protasewicz would be a disaster for Wisconsin. So vote tomorrow. Vote your conscience, and I pray that you will vote for the rule of law and vote for Justice Kelly. That's my rant. I hope you'll hit the subscribe button and like. I hope to have this content coming. This is the second episode of Out of the Frying Pan, coming at you from the Fat Pipes Recording Studio here in Verona, Wisconsin. Thanks for joining me.